This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.
Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today's guest, we've got the head coach of Xavier College down in New Orleans, where the crawfish are hiding and the shrimp is ready to make that gumbo. Hey, Coach.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Carlos?
Yeah, we got Coach Alfred Williams. Hey, Coach, I like our audience to get to know who you are. I've talked off camera a little bit about how long our interviews go, because what I want you to do is talk about the first time you fell in love with basketball. And as I always say, how I do my high school players, a lot of times, coach like you might get a star player, and that star player is tied to you, but there were a lot of coaches that got that kid skill set to where it's at. Right. And there were a lot of coaches, I believe, and mentors in your life that help you build your skill set to where it's at now. And it's time to give everybody their props.
Man, okay. Ooh, gotta go in the memory bank a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I want you. Hey, listen, some of them coaches that we've interviewed, for real, Glasgow will tell you, they say they were in the crib when their grandfathers would be minding them. They have the game on, and then they changed the channel to the cartoons. The kids start crying. They had to go back to the game.
Go back to the game, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, and so we got all the time in the world for you to talk about who you are and how you got involved with the sport. Then, Coach Glasgow, he's the head coach and the athletic director over there. Then he's gonna chop it up with you with the stuff that y'all do, that y'all specialize in.
Okay.
All right.
Hit it. All right.
Hit it, baby.
So my name is Coach Alfred Williams, head coach, Xavier University of Louisiana. I'm just wrapping up my 4th year now as a head coach. This is now my 11th year as a collegiate coach altogether. So I rewind first to go forward. So I got 2 older brothers. My oldest brother is Rayshawn Williams, played at University of North Carolina Tar Heels. He played pro 7 years in the NBA, played overseas for a number of years, and real decorative pro in the basketball world. My other brother is Eric Williams. He played over he went to Guilford College in North Carolina. He went overseas to England and Belgium, played a couple years in pro ball. Now he's back home doing his ventures and everything like that. So those 2 were the first to kind of started the competitive edge, just getting it started. And then our basketball coach at the time, his name was Johnny Jones. He was kind of our trainer to kind of get us. He worked with all 3 of us, so he was the one that kind of pushed the envelope to get us to the point where we are today as far as with the basketball. He coached at FAMU a couple of years, and then he coached up at Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina. That's originally where I'm from, Greenville, South Carolina. I'm sorry.
I'm Geechee too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not originally there, but my family lineage is outside of Sumter and Lynchburg and Florence.
Okay. That's not too far from Greenville. So that's originally where I'm from. So having the opportunity to grow up there with 2 older brothers, and by the way, my big cousin is Kevin Garnett. So basketball kind of run in my family in the blood. So
I'd say so, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been fortunate enough, man, and to be able to just compete at a high level from a younger age, being able to watch my brother compete, going to North Carolina, watching him with Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, Ed Cota, Jeff McGinnis, the list goes on, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, the list goes on and on, being able to be in that kind of environment and watching their work ethic to get them to where they want to be at, to the pro level. So I was fortunate enough to see that at an early age, and that kind of drove me to want to either be better than my brother or at least as good as my brothers. And so by the age of, I would say, 11th grade, when I was going to the 11th grade, my assistant coach, which is, by the way, my cousin, his name is Clay Brazil out of Greenville. He just got a head coaching job at Jailman High School in Greenville, South Carolina.
What position
he told me. Well, high school, I was one of those Swiss Army knife guards. So I played guard forward. I was a big guard at rebound. And so, my favorite players were like a Jason Kidd, guy who can do a little bit of everything on the floor. But I love shooting guards too. So Allen Houston, John Starks of the world, just tough, gritty guards. So that's kind of a mixture of my game and everything, how I play. So once they told me at that time that, hey, he told me in my junior year that, hey, you're going to be a coach one day. And I'm like, man, I want to go follow in my brother's footsteps, man. Both brothers pros. Man, I want to go play ball, be a pro, like everybody else. So getting that opportunity to hear that at an early age, I guess that seed was planted, not knowing that it would really manifest years later. So got an opportunity out of high school, didn't get recruited heavily. Went to prep school up in Winchendon, the Winchendon School. It's right outside of, like an hour in Boston. So it's that New England Prep League. So you talking about prep school, I know exactly what you're going through and everything. So I did a year up there with the Winchendon School. I had a couple of guys go Division I, Iowa State, Manhattan, Texas A&M, Richmond. So I had four guys go Division I, 4 or 5 guys go Division I, with Paul too. And so playing against them every day got my, again, competitive edge and understood what kind of work I need to put in. So ended up getting recruited to go to North Carolina Wesleyan, Division III school in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Head coach is John Thompson. We called him Pat Riley because he used to wear his hair back, he used to wear his hair back, slick back and everything. So we called him Pat Riley. But he kind of helped me really hone in on what it needs to be a leader. In that year he brought in 8 freshmen, and we had 7 seniors that was on that team also. So I had to compete every day with them. And 2 of the 8 players were the only 2 that played from a freshman year. The other 6 got redshirted. So I was fortunate enough to be one of those 2 to actually get ready to play and compete with those other 7 seniors. And so, that taught me a lot of just bringing it every day, competing. I had a mentor over there, the guy I looked up to when I played, and he kind of took me under his wings and really helped me develop my game into what it was. And then after my freshman year, I ended up transferring down to Xavier University. So I played my final 3 years at Xavier University. Again, transferring into Xavier, I had the same situation. I was behind 6 seniors. So I was a sophomore behind 6 seniors again. And worked my way into the six-man role. Got an opportunity to start a couple games, but that really set the momentum of just really having a good college career, basketball career. So that's 2004, 2005. Finished my sophomore year at Xavier University. 2005, as some of you guys may know, Hurricane Katrina. So I was at Xavier in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. So I was fortunate and unfortunate. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of material things. A lot of my teammates lost homes and things like that. And it was a time where, putting stock in material stuff kind of really was important at that time for me. But now it's to the point now where I'm a minimalist now. I don't need a whole lot of stuff to feel happy or feel like I'm in a good space. So that 2005 year taught me a lot about just myself and helping others and being gracious for others and everything. So so we did play the 2005 year. 2006, I ended up finishing my junior senior year. So 06, 07, 07, 08. So I was able to finish my my remaining years at Xavier. the year we come back from Katrina, we end up winning the regular season championship, make it to nationals. We beat number 3 team in the country, Georgetown, Kentucky. Well, they basically thought they was gonna run through us, and we surprised everybody. Got to the Sweet 16, and that was a special year for us because coming off that Katrina year, nobody really expected a lot from us. So having that opportunity to get to that point was awesome. We felt like the next year we're gonna really take off and go to the next level. And we got to the championship game, lost the championship game, got to nationals, lost in the first round, and just finished it off that way. But so that's 2008. So like any senior, man, I'm about to go play some pro ball. So get invited to some camps. Did the G League, did the Eurobasket League. Great experiences, but wasn't quite. I did the Eurobasket first, the summer of 2008. So I said, I'm gonna take the whole year, I'm gonna train, get my body right, because at that time, like I said, I was a rebounding guard. So I had to transition. Basically, my group started that small ball stuff. So I'm 6'4", end up playing the power four sometimes at 5 because my 6'7s, my 6'8s don't want to rebound. Right. And so with me on the floor gives us a lot of versatility, space the floor out and stuff like that. So I had to transition from basically a big forward to a shooting guard. So I used the whole summer to get in better shape, get my footwork together. Now, mind you, while I'm at Xavier, I'm still shooting. I shot 40% my junior year, and then my senior year, I shot 45% from the 3. So I'm a shooter, but I'm just a big rebounding guard, So, so the whole year, 2008, 09, I'm using the whole year to train, to get in shape, get ready for camp. I get to the G League camp, play really well. I had a couple opportunities with Idaho Stampede, but they called me late. So after the G League camp, July comes, and my head coach at the time was Denton Jackson. He was the head coach at Xavier when I played, and he ended up calling me back and said, "Hey man, we got an assistant coach position open. We interviewed all these people, and your name just kept popping up." And just asked me if I'd be interested. At that time, I had 4 options. First option. So upon graduating, Waffle House called. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Waffle House, yeah. Waffle House called. They wanted me to be a district manager. So I had the opportunity to own my own Waffle House, be the manager of a Waffle House. That was one option I had. The other option was to be a referee. I was told if you're 24 now, by the time you're 30, you're probably going to be G League, high division, get on track to be NBA because you got the frame. So I was okay. And then I got a call from Europe, basically 24,000, 28,000 basketball scholarship, contract. I'm like, I could make that at McDonald's if I wanted to, being a manager. So I was like, nah, with benefits. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Last thing was coaching. So when that opportunity came up, I went back to my junior year in high school where I was told that one day I would be a coach. And the whole time while I'm at Xavier, I'm doing the skill development with my teammates, skill development with little kids in the summertime. I just had an affinity for it, and really, really helping young men go from point A to point B. So that was one of the things that really started the ball rolling. And then once that opportunity came to be an assistant coach, I weighed all my options, and that definitely was the best option for me. So that was 2009. So 2009 to 2015, I'm assistant coach at Xavier. Learning a lot my first year. Second year, I picked up on things really, really quickly. Sailed my third year to the point where I was doing a lot of different things in practice, around campus, recruiting, scouting, just doing a lot of different, becoming a head coach one day because I knew I aspired to be a head coach one day. So even when my head coach was doing all the scouts, I would still go back and do the scouts as if I'm preparing myself to be a head coach. So he would do the scouts, but I would do them for myself just to make sure if there's anything that he missed, I'm right there, Jenny, on the spot to make sure I get it to him. So that's kind of how I was as a player and how I am as a coach now, just very detail oriented, trying to make sure that doing all the things that I need to do to make sure that, you know, the worst thing for me as a coach is not being prepared or not knowing, or a team get a backdoor lob on me or something and I didn't see it on the film. Like, that's the worst thing for me as a coach. And, you know, I try to make sure that I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. So, so 6 years as assistant coach at Xavier, I get an opportunity to go to Harris-Stowe State University in St. Louis as the head coach there. Prior to getting there, they had the last 3 years, they had won 6 games. In the last 3 years, they went 6-20 the last 3 years in a row. So everybody was afraid of that job, to get that job. And I looked at it like it was an opportunity.
Hey, Coach, your sound is going sour on it.
Spread my wings a little bit. Get the head coach as an opportunity to grow, opportunity to just get better. So I gotta rewind just a little bit.
Your sound is going bad, Coach, on you. I don't know whether you're touching something or somebody else is touching something, but your sound is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now, clear.
You got me? Okay. So going back to my 5th year as an assistant coach, I was hit with that same dilemma as far as you know, what direction I wanted to go, because it wasn't at that time. You know, I think I kind of hit a wall, and I needed a change. So I was in a situation where I was thinking about quitting basketball, just because the experience that I was having, you know, it was getting really, you know, wasn't getting value as I thought I should have, and you know, the opportunities as far as head coaching opportunities wasn't getting recognized for it. So I had the same dilemma. So I was like, hey, I would rather go work at a Subway, go over to Costco, push buggies, and be real content and just train kids. That's kind of the space that I was in at that time. And, you know, one of my mentors, you know, Robert Thompson, he's a junior college coach. Well, he was a junior college coach in Mississippi. He saw me play as a player. He was like, hey, man, stick with it. So I stuck with it. My athletic director said the same thing, stick with it, and got the opportunity at Harris-Stowe. And so when I got the opportunity at Harris-Stowe, like I said, 6-20. So our first year, I was only there 1 year. My first year, we went 14-16. So we had a 8-game increase, where we was able to really take the program, put the program on the map, you know, in the American Midwest. And
They're coming up next.
That opportunity
we got them coming up next, Harris-Stowe, on interview. Your picture's freezing up. Is it because you got those earplugs in or what?
I don't know. Let me try to take these out. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So let's fast forward, Coach. Let's fast forward. You tell us about Xavier in New Orleans. Tell us about that program, because we'll have a lot of kids that'll watch these videos. You know what I mean? They're looking for homes. I mean, Lincoln College Prep here in KC is just a regular high school. It's not actually a graduate program school. It's a 4-year high school. So tell us about Xavier, what Xavier's like, what the program's like, what the school's like, the environment. Of course, New Orleans is vibrant, and you know, it's a great place to be if you can get away from home and manage, you know, that. So just tell us about your university, your program, you know, and you know, what's exciting going on down there as far as, you know, what you guys have built down there, and tell us the league you play in, you know, what the competition's like, and stuff like that.
Well, the competition is it's rough. I'm not going to kid you. We had 4 teams this year that was in the top 25 throughout the course of the year. So every game is tough. Transfer league, junior college. We're the only school pretty much that takes freshmen, pretty much. You know, other schools take them every now and then. Sir?
What's your conference?
It's the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, the GCAC. And it's a very aggressive league, fast-paced, a lot of run and gun, pressing. Got some great coaches. Which just finished my 4th year, so I have an opportunity to really grow. This past year, we probably had an average of maybe 10 or 11 guys that can really, really play. And so we basically pressed a lot, picked up the pace, played a lot of man. We play a lot of man-to-man. I really don't like zone, but we'll switch it up every now and then when we have to. But we try to push the tempo. Guys, we love guys who are high IQ guys who our basic requirements be able to dribble, pass, shoot, and you got to be able to defend. Those things I feel like are instrumental to our success, just because we got 5 guys on the floor at all times that can make plays with the basketball, dribbling, passing, and be able to shoot it. And then, for us, we recruit freshmen. We recruit everybody that can basically help us win. We're not if he's a freshman and he can play, we'll recruit those guys too. But I think that our league and what we built here, man, in 4 years, we won 2 regular season championships, won 1 tournament championship, went to nationals 2 times. We had, in the last 3 years, we've had 6 All-Americans. We just built a culture here, man, of just hard work. We want guys blue-collar guys that's going to come in and work hard every day, put the time and energy in to just perfect their craft. And that's been one thing that we've definitely been, building towards. And so I'm excited about what we built here. My goal was coming in, was to be the powerhouse of the South. That was one of my goals coming in. And I think that teams, schools, and even locals and people in the region are starting to recognize us for the work that we've done. So I'm excited about where we are and just continue to build it and go forward from there.
How are you guys looking for 2020 and 2021? I know the COVID has kind of set everybody back with, recruiting. People can't, kids can't go on visits, and you guys can't get out on the road and recruit like you normally would. How are you guys reinventing yourselves in the 2020 years? Got an asterisk by it for a lot of us as far as, getting kids, to places and for colleges. So, tell us about how your recruiting is going. Do you guys have all your spots filled for 2020? What are you looking for 2021? And just kind of tell us how you guys have kind of weathered the storm with COVID and all that stuff.
Okay. So we did a lot of work early before the virus hit. So we were able to identify a couple of guys that we felt could be good assets to our program. So we were able to sign one kid early, I think in January or something like that. So we were able to sign one early. And then as far as creativity wise, man, just using Zoom. I do some of the young technical. I text them, I hit them on Twitter, stuff like that. But I like to. Our staff is more the old school type videos, see them virtual tours at universities, just so they kind of see what we have to offer. Our 2020 class came together pretty well. Like I said, we did a lot of our work early. We're still missing 2 pieces that I feel are critical to our success. We just lost a 2-time All-American Division II transfer, man, that's probably going to get an opportunity to go play some ball somewhere. He was a 2-time All-American MVP of the tournament, so we're going to miss him. He was a 6'5", 6'6", 4'3" for us. And so trying to replace him with an older guy that can kind of get some stuff done, or even just a guy who's just forceful in the paint and everything, that can play inside out. And, like I said, be able to do some of those basic things. So waiting on that. And then we're in communication in the recruiting process with one kid who's kind of a Swiss Army knife, about 6'4", really can do everything on the floor, big time shot blocker at 6'4", super athlete, probably has like a 45-inch vertical. So being able to get that kind of guy that can do different things, guard different positions, I think he definitely finalized our recruiting status. And then for 21, we're losing 4 seniors. 4 seniors. One's a 2-time All-American. He's a senior this year, so he'll probably be a 3-time All-American by the time he leaves. So we're gonna lose him. We're losing 2 shooters, and we're losing another guy's kind of a hybrid Swiss Army knife, man, that's just gave us a much needed spark this past year, man. So we're young. We were fortunate enough to get some great guys in last year that's kind of help us carry the weight forward. But yeah, we're really young. Not really young. We got 8 guys coming back, 7 played heavy minutes, and 4 are seniors. So that 21 class would be, we'll be looking for some guys in 21, some shooters definitely, and some shooters, wings, and maybe some high energy forwards.
So I heard you mention earlier about being under recruited, when you were playing. I went through that when I was playing. Of course, when, they didn't have the social media and the outlets, that would be for our generation of guys. If we had those things, sky would have been the limit. I mean, to be able to put actual videos right away out into the stratosphere for coaches and stuff like that. Even for the guys that go under recruited now, as a coach, at the collegiate level, what is your advice to those guys to maybe get themselves in a position to get noticed by guys like you? I know you guys probably comb, social media, and, that's kind of an outlet that we all have to use. But your advice to a younger guy out here that's under recruited right now, maybe for 2020, 2021, the next couple of years, what's your advice for them to get themselves in a position to get in front of guys like yourself?
I would say the biggest thing, man, just be proactive. Be proactive, get yourself out there, man. Be your best recruiter. You be your best recruiter. Sell yourself things that you're good at, because you never know the things that you're good at. That may be the particular thing that a coach is looking for. Put your tape together, man. Learn how to do that stuff. And just pump it out. Whatever schools that fit the criteria, the check boxes that you're looking for, be able to push that information out, because, as the older folks used to say, a closed mouth don't be fed. So if you're not proactive in promoting yourself and putting yourself out there and doing homework early, because a lot of times everybody has different avenues of how to get to where they're trying to go. But I think if you just stay proactive with it and just continue to put your best foot forward, I think you'll have an opportunity to do some great things. But at this time right now, it's a little rough, but you just got to deal with it a little bit.
Right. So, Coach, the last thing I'll ask is I'm always putting plugs in for our area for recruiting. Do you guys recruit the Midwest, Kansas City? You say you were in Harris Stowe, so I'm sure you're familiar with the St. Louis area. We're 3 hours up the road from St. Louis. Do you guys recruit this area heavily, or do you normally stick in the regions, that you're in or that well? And, how can we establish that to where you guys start getting some guys from some of these dogs from KC that can go down there to New Orleans, man, it'll change their life down there. So,
Well, I got a good friend. There's 2 guys. There's 2 guys that I lean on heavily up in that area. The national tournament is in Kansas City, so every time I come, I link up with 2 of my guys. Coach Harvey, that's over there at Penn Valley, Right. That's one of my guys. And then Coach Ace. I can't remember where he's coaching at.
Grandview Christian. Grandview Christian. Yeah. Good friend of mine, actually.
That's my guy, man, Coach Ace. And so we, once I came up there initially the first time, man, I developed those relationships with those two guys, man. Well, I was in St. Louis, actually. And we had a couple of guys we were trying to get from Kansas City, man. And we were close to getting them, but didn't quite happen. Kansas City area, man, they got some good ball players up there. Just, when times permitted, being able to get up there more and basically do some recruiting. But definitely, man, like I said, I lean on those two guys heavily. And, I call them at least I try to call them at least once, twice a month just to check in on them, see how they're doing. And but definitely good friends of mine.
That's great. Great.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully with you, I can be able to get another plug and,
Got you. I got you covered. I got you covered.
We can't get nothing unless we get that phone number. We're not going to talk about that until I get off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't want my phone blowing up,
Right.
like that.
You have a whole bunch of huddle highlights on your phone before you know it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Coach, y'all finished chopping that up. Now, what really I want you to end up on, because the reason that I'm featuring HBCUs are because of the nature of a HBCU. They're nurturing and that effect. Talk about that campus life a little bit. Most of the kids that's on campus, whether they play sports or not, if you don't know their name, their face is
right.
And that goes throughout HBCUs. I was just looking at a video of one of my past presidents. I went to Central State University in Wilberforce, and he was talking about the underfunding of the HBCUs, and not racist or anything, and the white universities getting all the money, and the HBCUs are not being able to develop their programs and everything. So, and you know how enrollment has fallen, not just with your university possibly, but across the board with HBCUs, most of them, it's not for all of them. And having our kids be able to look at an interview like this with a coach like yourself, with HBCU coaches, to say, oh, I might not want to go to that big university. I might need to be going to a HBCU where I don't have to fit in, because the people that are in that university, they look like me, they come from the same type background. Can you give some closing remarks on that?
Well, Xavier is known for our medical field. So we're the number one producer of African Americans going into the med field. So when you start talking about campus life, man, you're surrounded around, you're surrounded by people that look like you. But we have a lot of diversity on campus. University, man, from grounds crew to the cafeteria workers, all the way up to the president, man. People are definitely concerned about your well-being, making sure that you succeed in, the avenues that you're trying to go in. And so, from just the population itself, man, we're right at 3,500 students. And so by it being so small, you're able to, everybody knows everybody. So, it's a effort to make sure that everybody is doing the things necessary for, just for your success. And everybody looks out for each other, just by being a close-knit environment. So
that's real important in helping, especially a lot of our kids, to that graduation platform. To have teachers, coaches, cafeteria work care about who you are, and and I don't think you get that at a big school.
Nah, you kind of get lost. They chew you up. A lot of times they chew you up, and they don't even know your real name. They know you by number, and that's, sometimes some people can do that, but some others need a different type of learning. Our class sizes, I think the biggest we have is maybe a 25, 30 to 1. So, especially if you play ball too, the teachers, the staff, the faculty, everybody knows your name, know that you play ball. And so they are aware of that. But the one thing I will tell you about Xavier they don't give you any slacks now. Just because you're an athlete, they remind you daily, there's a student in front of the athlete.
Right.
So you got to be a student first and then the athlete part. So, we're reminded of that daily, man. And, the campus life is nice, man. I mean, it's you're right here in the heart of New Orleans, one. So you kind of in a bubble, but on type of campus, man, everybody here is locked in, trying to be doctors, pharmacists, surgeons. So everybody's kind of locked in to get it, but then once they finish their studies and everything, you have the Union Center. That's nice. We're one of the only schools. We're one of 2 schools in New Orleans who have their own Chick-fil-A on campus.
Well, let me say
we
this.
We got some nice things going on with that.
2 things we have in common. I'm a minimalist also, and you've seen that all that material stuff falls, that's for the birds. The other thing I want you to speak to is to our athletes and all you ballers out there, dogs or whatever you want to call yourself. You want to go to a school where you can play. You can go to these big schools and sit on the bench for 4 years. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we lost a couple of guys this past year in the recruiting process. We were, just give you an example, we were recruiting a Division II guy. He was 16-10 in Division II. He transfers from Division II losing program to go to a Division I losing program, just because it's Division I. We've had guys pick, Division I schools as a potential walk-on just to say they went Division I, never get off the bench. So, I look at it like this, man. At the end of the day, you're gonna get guys who you're supposed to get in. That's been an attribute to us. We've had 6 All-Americans in 3 years. And when you're talking about this dog, that's what we put a premium on, this toughness. The skill part, I can teach them how to dribble. I can teach them how to shoot better. I can't teach what's inside of your chest. I can't teach that. So getting guys who at competitive level, they're hungry to desire to be better, to be great, those are the type of guys that we look for. And at the end of the day, you just got to fit a need for us. If we need that position, whether it's point guard, shooting guard, whatever the case may be, then that's what makes us, want to get those guys. But we put a premium, high premium on just toughness, mental toughness, physical toughness, guys who, quiet dogs, vicious dogs, whatever. We put a premium on that stuff,
Hey, Coach Glasgow, in closing, what are some of your closing comments?
Hey, Coach, as always, I'd like to, thank you for your time, man. I know, everybody's kind of living a hectic life, man. So taking some time out of your schedule to just speak with us, man. And there'll be a lot of athletes in our area, Metro, that will see this film, see this interview. And, I look forward to building a relationship with you, man. I'm going to actually text Ace as soon as we get off here and let him know we met today. And let him know, you know what I mean, that I'm going to steal some of his shine and make sure you contacted me first. But we'll have a good conversation about that. But I appreciate you, Coach. And when you do come to KC, man, we'll definitely hook up and, man, have a beer, have some barbecue, something like that, man.
Yeah, got to get some barbecue for sure.
For sure. No doubt. We got you covered, Coach. But I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for taking time out of your day to rap with us on here today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
What are some of your closing comments that you'd like to have?
Man, I just appreciate the opportunity, the platform to be able to speak about Xavier, tell a little bit of my story, just how I got to where I'm at, and, continue to strive for greatness, man. Every day, we as Black males and also as Black coaches, man, we have to continue to just push the envelope and be better every day. And man, my biggest thing, my thing is, guys who aspire to be coaches, man, be able to help them as best as I can. And just be a mentor for them and just continue to grow, because the sky is wherever you want to go, the opportunity is there. So I'm just looking forward to the opportunity, and appreciate you for having me on, and definitely looking forward to meeting you guys in person also.
All right. As in closing, as we always say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.